All right, everyone, switch on your videos. Let's start today's class. Okay, Malva, you also switch on your video. Okay, so students, so in the previous class, you people are able to hear me fine? Okay. So in the previous class, we had discussed about the two very, you can say, deadly diseases, one of which was AIDS and the other was cancer. Did you people have any doubts in that topic? Anything you wanted to ask? Did you all read NCERT after like the class was over? No? Okay. So now today we're going to start with a new topic. Hopefully we'll end this chapter today. So talking about drugs and alcohol abuse. Now see, this abuse of drugs and alcohol, it comes under addiction, right? And what is the meaning of addiction? Is when a person gets psychologically attached to any substance, whether it is some sort of chemical, whether it is some sort of anything. When a person gets too attached to it, then we say that person is addicted to that thing. For example, whether we talk about drugs, do you people know that there are people that are addicted to drugs and alcohol? You people know this much? Now, can you tell me what may be the reason as to why would they be addicted? Like, what may be the reason for their addiction? According to you, like, what do you think?
Pain reliever as a pain reliever.
Yeah, for many people, the thing relieves the pain. For many people, it helps them to, think something else, meaning to distract them from reality. It makes them feel really good, like happiness. And when people lack that in their real life, so they depend upon these things in order to get that satisfaction. And when people start to do it, slowly, their tolerance to that particular chemical gets increased so much that every time they'll be using it, they'll need a higher dose, right? They'll need a higher dose, much more than they were originally taking. So when we talk about addiction, it is the attachment to the psychological effects of any substance. For example, the consumption of drugs and alcohol, it gives a temporary feeling of euphoria. People get attached to this sense of euphoria. Euphoria means a sense of happiness, a sense of well-being. So they start consuming drugs and alcohols even when it is not required. Because there are many drugs that are prescribed to us by the doctor, right? Such as the painkillers, like when people undergo heavy surgery, they have to be under painkiller, and that's normal. Obviously, because our body cannot take a lot of pain, right? And being slit open and then stitches and everything. So people are prescribed with painkillers. But when they, like, the doctors prescribe it very, you can say, carefully, the amount which is okay, and it will not lead to addiction. But when it is not in use, when it is not required, and then also people utilize it, then definitely that is going to, like, that will be considered as the abuse of that particular chemical, and it will lead to addiction. So prolonged use of drugs and alcohol makes the body used to it and increases its tolerance level, meaning at every step, whenever they next use it, they would have to use a higher dose of that drug or the alcohol to get euphoric or to get that sense of well-being again. This cycle keeps on repeating until it becomes so permanent that it is impossible for that person to live without that chemical. Clear? So now the class of drugs. Now, if I, like, if I say drugs and alcohol abuse, like you people might form some sort of image in your mind. You might have seen in television, in some movies or some serials, right? These things are shown. So now we are going to study the scientific things behind those things. So the commonly used drugs that are that are abused by people are in three categories. There's opioids, there's cannabinoids, and then there's coca alkaloid. Three classes of drugs are there. Now, the most bizarre thing is that these drugs, they are obtained from plants and some of them are obtained from fungi as well. So it's like naturally occurring in the world. And other than that, our body has receptors for it. Like for example, the opioid receptors are present in our central nervous system, right? So receptors are already present. And when it reacts and when that chemical is given to the body, the receptor reacts to it. Clear? So when we talk about the opioids, so these are the drugs. So these are the ones that bind to the opioid receptors that are already there in the central nervous system and the gastrointestinal. So these are the drugs that, like, these receptors are already present in the central nervous system and in the GI tract. Okay. So now one such example of opioid is heroin. It is commonly called as smack. And in terms of its chemical name, it is called as diacetyl morphine. Now, in terms of its physical thing, like physical appearance and everything, it is white, it is odorless, and it is bitter crystalline compound that is in the form of crystals. How is it obtained? It is obtained by the acetylation of morphine. When morphine undergoes acetylation, the diacetyl morphine is formed, and that is called as heroin. Now, this is extracted. Now, from which plant does this, like, is this obtained? So it is obtained from the latex of the poppy plant, scientific name for which is Papaver somniferum. Now, if this is scientific name and I have typed it, so I have to make it italicized. But when you people will be noting it down, you will underline it. Okay. So that's the case. So how is the person taking these drugs? So the person takes it by snorting, meaning inhaling it, or by injecting it into the bloodstream. And what does it do? Like, why does a person take it? So heroin, it is a depressant and it slows down body functions. So if a person is feeling really agitated, they're like, they're like very worried or anxious, and if they take this, their body functions are going to slow down and give that person a sense of calmness. So opioids are clear to you, students? Now see, this is the opium poppy plant. Okay, this is a poppy plant from where this particular heroin is made. And from which part? So from the latex. What is latex? Have you heard about it before? Latex. Have you seen, like, in the stem of the plant, there's a sticky substance that comes out when you touch it or when you break it into halves? That's latex. Clear? So some plants have a lot of it. And this is the chemical structure of morphine. Now, you don't have to actually remember the cycles, number of carbons and stuff, but just pan and look at it, because maybe this structure will be given in the paper and they'll ask you, how is this particular drug taken? Or what does this drug do? Or where is this receptor present? So these things you should know. They'll not ask you to draw this, but they'll ask you things about it or things related. Is it clear?
Yes.
And you should remember the picture of the plant as well. Now the second one are cannabinoids. Now cannabinoids, again, cannabinoid receptors are present in our brain. So these are the drugs or the group of chemicals that interact with the cannabinoid receptors that are present in our brain. So natural cannabinoids, they are obtained from the inflorescence. People know what inflorescence means? right? Cymose, racemose, if you remember from class 11. So inflorescence of which plant? Of the plant Cannabis sativa. Cannabis sativa is the plant from which cannabinoids are obtained, from the inflorescence of it. So the flower top, the leaves, and the resin of cannabis plant, they are also used in various combinations to produce different kinds of drugs such as marijuana, hashish, charas, and ganja. These are the different names of, like, I think these are the common names only of the cannabinoids that are taken from different parts of the cannabis plant, such as flower tops can be used, leaves can be used, resin can be used, these things can be used. How does a person take a cannabinoid? It is usually taken by inhalation, again by snorting, or by oral ingestion, meaning by eating it, right? Taking it, procuring it. And these are known for their effects on the cardiovascular system of the body. Okay, maybe it, like, what does it do? It increases the heart's efficiency. It makes the heart work twice as hard and thereby increase the blood supply to the different parts of the body. And many a times, this is the reason why a lot of sports people are abusing these cannabinoid drugs, because they, so that they can get an enhanced athletic performance. Got it? So that is you. Then the third one, also you should see the cannabis. This is the leaf of a cannabis sativa plant. Okay. And here is the chemical structure, the skeletal structure of a cannabinoid molecule. So you should know the one that has a tail like hydrocarbon tail, that is your cannabinoid structure. And the one that has these many cyclic chains present, OH group protruding out, that is your morphine. Clear? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Now, the coca alkaloid, the third class of these drugs that are abused, they are also known as cocaine. And it is obtained from the coca plant called as erythroxylum coca. And from where it is like native to South America. Now, what does it do is that it interferes with the transport of the neurotransmitter, that is dopamine. You people, do you remember the function of a neurotransmitter? No, none of you do. Neurotransmitters. The name only suggests you the function. What was the function of a neurotransmitter?
It sends
It transfers
chemical
information
messages.
Yes,
to the
exactly.
dendrites.
Very good. So what does it do? It transmits the impulse from one neuron to another neuron. That's how the whole entire information travels throughout the nervous system. So what this cocaine does is that it interferes with that particular transport of dopamine. Because if the neurotransmitters are not being properly transferred, how will they produce any kind of effect in the body? So cocaine, which is commonly called as coke or crack, is usually snorted. Again, inhaled. It is a potent stimulating, it has a potent stimulating action on the central nervous system, because it, like, for example, let's just say a person has gotten a very sad news. Okay, a very like extremely sad news. So sadness, like when you perceive sadness, when you perceive feelings, your whole entire nervous system tells you what you're feeling, isn't it? For example, if you're happy, the whole entire nervous, like, you know that you're happy, isn't it? You feel like, talking to everyone, you feel like smiling and doing your favorite things. So you know when you're happy. Same thing happens when you know when you're sad, isn't it? You don't feel like going out, don't feel like talking to anyone, you don't even feel like eating. That's normal, normal for every person. So let's just say a person that has this habit of abusing drugs. So if they have, received some sort of tragic news, maybe someone died or some sort, anything that is tragic according to them, they've received that news. Now, obviously, when a person grieves, the whole entire body feels it, right? And sometimes it becomes so hard that we can't even take it. So at that time, they will rely on the drug. They will take the drug, and because the drug is interfering with the transport of the neurotransmitter, so now they'll stop feeling sad. But obviously, this is only for a while. Then they have to again do it, again do it, again do it, isn't it? But the pain will never stop in real life. But it's the feeling that they're getting that, okay, my pain is gone. So this produces a sense of euphoria and increased energy. Excessive dosage can even cause hallucinations. So if, let's just say, a person relied on it so much that every day they are abusing the drug, abusing the cocaine, so they'll start hallucinating stuff. Right? They start seeing stuff that aren't even there. So hallucinations, you people understand? Imagining, isn't it? Imagining stuff. Now, other well-known plants with hallucinogenic properties are Atropa belladonna. Then drugs like barbiturates, amphetamines, benzodiazepine, and lysergic acid diethylamides (LSD). These are the drugs that are like used medically to help people that have mental illnesses like depression, insomnia. But when people start to use it on their own, they start to abuse that particular drug. When we talk about what does a morphine do, so morphine is one of the best painkillers out there. So people that have undergone, like tremendous surgeries, they are prescribed with morphine because it is an effective sedative. It calms the person down and removes the pain that they might be facing. Apart from that, several plants, fruits, and seeds having hallucinogenic properties has been used for like hundreds of years in folk medicine, in religious ceremonies, and rituals all over the globe. So, when these are taken for a purpose other than the medical use, then we'll consider it as abuse of that particular drug. Clear? Is it clear, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, moving forward, tobacco is one more, you can say, something that person, you can say, uses a lot or gets addicted to a lot, right? It has been used by human beings for more than 400 years. And it is used in variety of forms, like it is smoked, it is chewed, and even it is snuffed, again, inhaled. So now the potent chemical that is there in tobacco, that is nicotine, which is by nature an alkaloid. Now, what it does, this nicotine, it will start stimulating the adrenal gland to release adrenaline and noradrenaline into the bloodstream. And when that hormone is released, you people already know adrenaline gives you a rush, isn't it? It gives you the boost of energy, it increases the heart rate and stuff, as a result of which a person feels very alive and awakened. But again, because nicotine is a carcinogen, right? So it has, like smoking leads to a lot of cancers, like the cancer of lung, the cancer of urinary bladder and throat, emphysema, coronary heart disease, gastric ulcer, and all of these things are associated with it. But the most common and the most increased risk is the cancer of the mouth, that is cancer of oral cavity, mouth cancer. Apart from that, if you think about it, when anything is like burnt, if anything is burned, then that produces like carbon monoxide. And you know that our hemoglobin, it can bind with oxygen, it can bind with carbon dioxide, and it can even bind with the carbon monoxide. And carbon monoxide is the fastest to bind with the blood in hemoglobin, faster than oxygen. So it reduces the oxygen concentration in the body, which causes deficiency, and the organs will start failing if they'll not get oxygen. Clear? So when one buys packets of cigarettes, one cannot miss the statutory warning that is present, which says how injurious it is to health and all of that. So this whole entire drug abuse and alcohol abuse we haven't discussed, but the drug abuse, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any doubts? Anything you people want to ask me?
No, ma'am.
Yes or no? No. Okay, very good. All right. So after that, the next thing that we will be discussing is the alcohol abuse. One second. Can you people see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
So for alcohol abuse, I'm going to teach you with NCERT only because there's nothing extra that I could add to it. So when we talk about alcohol abuse again, it makes a person in like the person's central nervous system affected badly. And it has the severe effects. Okay, right here. Adolescence and drug slash alcohol abuse. So adolescence is the time period, right, wherein the child is transitioning to adulthood, isn't it? The child cannot be considered as a child anymore, and nor he or she can be considered as an adult. So it's like a transitioning phase for everyone's, like that comes in everyone's life. And it is the time period from the ages 12 to 18, right? So in other words, adolescence is a bridge that links the childhood and adulthood together. Now, during adolescence, there are a lot of changes that happens to the body as it, right? Biologically also changes are happening. Emotionally and behaviorally also the changes happen. So it's a very vulnerable phase in the mental and psychological development of individual. During this time around, there are many children or there are many people that start facing problems like anxiety, self-image, right? What is one more thing? Self-image and the low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is also something that is faced by them. Clear? Any doubts up until now?
No,
Okay.
ma'am.
All right. Now moving forward, when we talk about these particular addiction stuff, so a person would think about it, where does it begin or where does it come from to begin with, right? So curiosity, need for adventure, excitement, experimentation, these are some of the common causes which will make the youngster drive towards these drugs and alcohol use. So this natural curiosity, like let's try how it tastes, let's try how it feels, right? This is the pathway leading them to becoming completely abusers of that. So the first use of drug or alcohol, it may be out of curiosity or experimentation, but later the child starts using it to escape the like problems that he or she is facing. Of late, stress from, like you can say, pressures to excel in the academics or examinations, they also drive the children to the use of alcohol and drug abuse. So the perception, again, that something is really cool, right? Like how it is shown in the TV serials, like, smoking is cool. Like they show how the cool kids are doing smoking and stuff. So that also motivates them. Okay, like if that person is doing, I should do it too. Apart from that, television, movies, newspaper, internet, they also promote these things. So because of this thing, the people are driven to do that. So when we talk about addiction and dependence, so when a person repeatedly uses, so a person becomes addicted. Now let's just say by any of the reason, the thing is not available for that person. Now that person, because that person is addicted to it, they'll start going crazy. They'll start having certain, you can say, problems, like they'll not be able to concentrate, they'll not be, they'll not want to talk to anyone or anything of that sort. So addiction, it is a psychological attachment to feelings like euphoria, temporary feeling of well-being that are associated with the drugs and alcohol. So these, they drive people to take them even when they do not even need them, and then they become very dependent upon it. And always remember that with every usage, the dose required for the next time increases a lot more. So that is why a person must be given proper, you can say, counseling and everything related to that. Other than that, if let's just say a person is sent to a rehabilitation center, right, to get them rid of that particular this thing, addiction. So what they'll start to face is called as withdrawal syndrome. What is that withdrawal syndrome? This, if the regular use of those drugs, of those alcohol is discontinued, the person will start feeling anxiety, shakiness, nausea, vomiting, meaning they'll start going crazy. But if you give them even a tiniest of the drug or alcohol, they'll be fine. Remove it again, they'll start feeling all of these things again because their body are used to those things, right? Even the receptors in the body have gotten used to it. So that is why the people that are dependent upon these things, they must be taken care of properly. So effects of drugs and alcohol abuse, there are many effects. Like for example, these things that are there, like drugs and stuff, these are like people know, like those people that are dealing with these things, they know how the buying party is dependent upon it. So they know that, okay, even if I put a very insanely huge amount of the price for it, they'll still come in to buy it. So obviously it's very, very expensive. As a result of which the people that are using it, they are mostly youngsters. They do not have money. So they'll start stealing. They'll start lying. Isn't it? Those things will happen because they need the money anyhow to get that drug. Right? So there are many things that are associated with it, such as reckless behavior, vandalism, violence. Excessive usage can lead to coma and death because respiratory failure can happen, heart failure can happen, and even hemorrhage, cerebral hemorrhage can happen. So the most common warning signs of drugs and alcohol abuse among the youth include the drop in academic performance. They're not interested in studying anymore, unexplained absence from school or college, the lack of interest in personal hygiene, withdrawal, isolation, depression, fatigue, aggressiveness, and rebellious behavior. The relationship with family and friends will be, deteriorating. The loss of interest in hobbies, meaning the normal things that made them who they are, they'll not be doing it anymore. And also their weights will fluctuate. Mostly the people that abuse drugs, they're very thin because they don't eat anything, they just rely on drugs for everything. So these are certain things. And if the thing that I told you, if an abuser is unable to get money to buy the drugs or alcohol, then he or she may turn to stealing. So not only is this drug abuse problem affecting the person that is abusing it, but also the society as the family, the friends, the whole entire area the person lives. Now, those who take drugs intravenously, meaning directly inject the drug into the veins with the help of a needle and a syringe, so they can get infectious diseases like AIDS and hepatitis B, which are incurable diseases, ultimately in fatal, right? So that is why, and like both can be contracted by the particular, you can say, contaminated blood as well as the sexual contact with the infected person. So the use of these drugs, they can have long-term effects that could lead to heavy drinking in alcohol. And you people already know that it could directly damage the liver. The chronic use of it could directly damage the liver. It could directly damage the nervous system. And it could also cause cirrhosis, right? Also, if it is done during the pregnancy time, it would affect the fetus as well. Malformed fetus will be there. There can be variety of side effects of it in the case of males and in the case of females. So now another misuse of drug is what certain sports persons do to enhance their performance. They misuse the narcotic analgesics. So the use of the narcotic analgesics, the anabolic steroids, diuretics, obviously the sports person, they abuse it so that their athletic performance could be enhanced, and thereby it causes them to have a lot of aggressiveness. But apart from all of these things, apart from the plus points that they do get from it, they also get a lot of side effects. Like if a female sports person or like that, female are using the anabolic steroids, so it would include masculinization, meaning female will start developing features like males. Increased aggressiveness would be there, mood swing, depression, then abnormal menstrual cycle, right? Excessive growth of like hair on the face and the body, enlargement of clitoris, then deepening of voice. These things would happen in the case of a female if she is abusing anabolic steroids. In the case of males, it would have the effects such as acne, increased aggressiveness, mood swings, depression, reduction of the size of the testicles, decreased sperm production, potential for kidney and liver dysfunction, breast enlargement, premature baldness, enlargement of the prostate gland. Obviously, these effects can become permanent if the person is still using it. So in the adolescent male or female, severe facial and body acne and premature growth, closures of the long bones may occur, meaning that their growth will stop. They'll not grow taller, and that is going to result in stunted growth. So now the last topic is the how to prevent it from happening. Prevention and control. You all know that prevention is better than cure. So how can it be prevented? So it is true that habits such as smoking, taking drugs or alcohol, it is more likely to be taken up at a young age, more during adolescence. Hence, like the family should know, like parenting must be done properly. Teachers must look into it, right? Whether they must notice the signs associated with it. So peer pressure must be avoided, obviously. If other people are doing it, it's not necessary that you do it too. Education and counseling must be given so that the child can be taught that how like failure is a part of life. It's okay to be, it's okay to fail in some things and to pass in some, right? That's the case. So these things must be now seeking help from parents and peers, looking for dangerous signs, and also if now let's just say the use of psychologists, psychiatrists, so that they could be properly cured. Rehabilitation centers must be there so that they can be sent to so their addictions are gotten rid of. So this much is clear, students. Any doubts?
And what's anabolic steroids?
Anabolic steroids are those steroids that increase the heart rate in the body and they increase the performance in terms of athletic performance, in terms of any kind of performance, they enhance it. They make a person become aggressive from the inside, then only the performance, in just like how these things, the adrenaline works, right? Or how the normal steroidal, meaning steroidal means that those things that are derived from cholesterol. So those are the things. Clear? Any doubts? Anything else? What about the other students?
No doubt, ma'am.
No doubt? Okay. And see, the reason why the use of anabolic steroid was like creating all the male-like characters in the case of female, because it increased, like in the case of males, the anabolic steroid, they act like testosterone does, like the male hormone does. So more increase of that testosterone happens. So if a female takes it for, again, enhancing the athletic performance or whatever, XYZ reason, so she starts to have more testosterone in her body, thereby a lot of hair on the body, then aggressiveness and all of these things are there. Clear? So today we have completed this particular chapter, that is human health and diseases. Now after this, the next chapter that I am going to be starting is biotechnology. Okay, I'm going to start and end both the biotechnology chapters. Clear? So now you people can note it down and complete it today. If time is left, I'll start the new chapter today itself. So you have to start from this thing, right? Drug and alcohol abuse, cancer treatments and everything was done in the previous class. Yes or no? Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, now you people can note it down. Done, students. Shall I scroll down? Done till here?
No, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Done, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, students? Done till here? Shall I scroll down? Students, are you done till here? Shall I scroll down?
Yes, ma'am.